All right, all right. This is Clarence Jr. breaking down the Bulldogs, episode 3. And we're going to get straight into it. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to break down what happened in week 2, and then we're going to give predictions for how things are going to go in week 3. I'm going to go straight to it. I'm going to pull up these highlights from last week, and we're going to talk about every single one of these games. First, let me go ahead and put that right there. All righty. Now, let's go ahead and get started. Hold on. I almost forgot. Got to put the music on there. The background music. Which one? I think I'm going to go with, Yep, there we go. All right. There we go. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with my alma mater, Bowie State University. All right? Bowie State University. Turn that down some. All right, so here we are. Early in the first quarter, we're already down 14-0, but Malachi Anthony is going to throw an 8-yard touchdown pass to Antoine Banks. So at this point in time, hey, we still got some life. We still thinking we got some fight this early. We'll see what happens. Well, we already know what happened. Didn't go too well, but hey, late in the fourth quarter, get them stats. We got Micah Robinson with a 21-yard touchdown run to put the score at 36-14, where it will stay. So we keep the loss at less than 30. Hey, it is what it is. But one of them, probably the most, hold on, let me go back actually, because let's look at the stats from this game. All right, so Bowie State had 20 first downs. Delaware State had 21. Bowie State had 200 yards rushing. Delaware State had 278. Bowie State had 176 passing yards. Del State had 194, which is like 400 for them, so they had a day. All right? We had 382 yards of total offense. Del State had 472. Here's the issue. Bowie State had 12 penalties. Delaware State said, I can do you one better. They had 16 penalties. Time of possession was pretty much even, as, second half, we were just trying to, get up out of there without getting too ugly, so we possessed the ball a lot, all right? For third and fourth down, Bowie State was 5 of 19, and Delaware State was 5 of 19 as well. All righty. Malachi Anthony was 16-30 for 114 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. Micah Robinson was 11 for 98 yards and a touchdown. Kevin Taylor had 46 yards rushing. Malachi Anthony had 41 yards rushing. Joseph Toller had 9 catches for 63 yards. All right, on to the best game of the week. Johnson C. Smith at Elizabeth City State. We start right off here. ECSU is up 3-0. But Antonio Krim is going to run for the 56-yard touchdown to put JCSU up 7-3 early in the first quarter. Here we have Bobby Smith with a 5-yard run that's going to put JCSU up 14-3 early in the second quarter. So here it is. JCSU is up 14-3. You're thinking, okay, they're going to run away with this one, but not so fast. ECSU, Chris Perkins with K-Trez Bracey for a 91-yard touchdown pass that's going to put ECSU right back in the game at a score of 14-10. ECSU is a new day. They're not laying down. They're fighting back. They could have won this game. We'll talk about that soon enough. But here we have Traquan Johnson with a 1-yard touchdown run. And now ECSU is up 17-14 over JCSU halfway through the third quarter. This is where ECSU had a chance to win the game, and they gave it away. Bracey, the same one who caught the 91-yard touchdown pass, has a chance to put ECSU up 24-14 in the fourth quarter, and he dropped the ball. Not too much later, late in the fourth quarter, they paid for that. Calvin Durham goes 62 yards to Reginald Daniel, and JCSU goes up 21-17, and that would be the final score. A sad, heartbreaking loss for Elizabeth City State, as they probably could have won the game if that pass was caught. You look at the stats, pretty even. JCSU 17 first downs, ECSU 16. 160 yards rushing to 107. 198 passing yards to 191. 358 yards of total offense to 298. So very, very close game. Penalties. Where's the penalties? Both teams had 6 penalties apiece. Calvin Durham was 8 for 24, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 198 yards. Bobby Smith had 66 yards rushing on 14 attempts and a touchdown. Chris Perkins was 15 for 30 for 191 yards and a touchdown. But once again, a 60-yarder was dropped. That would have put him at 250 and 2 touchdowns. Traquan Johnson, 17 carries, 64 yards, and a touchdown. K-Trez Bracey, 2 catches for $120 and a touchdown. But it could have been 3 catches for $185 and 2 touchdowns, and possibly the biggest win ECSU has had in quite a long time. But it is what it is. That one's over with. Coming up next, listen, man, we have Lincoln at Winston-Salem State. Halfway through the first quarter, Lincoln ties the game up with a 5-yard touchdown run by Gregory. But later on in the second half, WSSU was up 21-7, and Dalen Lee has a 1-yard touchdown run to put them up 28-7. So you're thinking, okay, it's going to get away from Lincoln. This one is pretty much over, but not so fast. Hamas Doran with a 1-yard touchdown run. Going to bring the score closer at 28-14. You're thinking, oh, does Lincoln have a chance? No, they do not. Right after that, we have which play is this? The score's now 44-14, and Noah Marshall is going to go on a 57-yard touchdown run, and WSSU is going to win this game 51-14. A complete and utter beatdown. These stats, man, oh man, oh man. First downs were actually even, but WSSU had 150 more rushing yards. They also had 20 more passing yards. They had almost 500 yards of total offense. Lincoln fumbled the ball 4 times and lost 3 of them. 4 fumbles in one game. Lincoln, hey, they only had 4 penalties, but I mean, they had 3 fumbles and gave up 250 yards rushing, so it really don't matter about the penalties at that point. Time of possession was pretty even. Lincoln was 7 of 14, so that's 50% on 34th down. But once again, 250 yards rushing they gave up, and they fumbled the ball 3 times. All right. Hamas Doran was 16-24 for 213 yards, no touchdowns and an interception. So that's 4 turnovers in the game altogether. Gregory had 17 attempts, 71 yards, and a touchdown. Gregory also had 5 catches for 94 yards, so he's a Swiss Army knife on offense, apparently. Dalen Lee was 15 of 17, 251 yards, 4 touchdowns. That Lincoln defense, Lord have mercy. But they're not the worst defense in the conference, but we'll get to that in a second. Daquan Kelly, 14 attempts, 108 yards. Probably should have had 28 attempts, but hey, whatever. Deloitte, 3 catches, 98 yards, a touchdown. Caden Grimes, 6 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Washington had 2 catches for 2 touchdowns. Now we're going on to a complete and utter demolition. As you can see, we're only halfway through the second quarter, and Wingate is going to throw this touchdown pass to go up 35-0 with half of the second quarter still left to play. This got ugly. Here we have Elijah Holmes with a 1-yard touchdown pass right before the half to put them up 49-0 at the half. Good Lord Almighty. 49-0 at the half. It is now 65-0, but hey, Bluefield State gets on the board. Brandon Wiley gets a touchdown pass from Bryce Coombs to put the score at 65-7. All right. The final score was 72-7. That's not even the worst part. These stats are insane. Wingate had 31 first downs, 335 rushing yards, 250 passing yards, 575 yards of offense. They were 7 of 8 on third down. My Lord. They had 9 red zone possessions and scored 9 touchdowns. That's not even the craziest stat. The craziest stat is when you look at Wingate stats. The quarterback had 5 touchdown passes. The backup quarterback came in and got a touchdown pass. But listen to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different players for Wingate scored a touchdown. 8 different players. Xavier Pugh had 3 touchdowns. Caleb Kelly had a touchdown. Jalen Himes had a touchdown. Carlos Estranza had a touchdown. Xavier Jackson had a touchdown. Zymil Patterson had a touchdown. Clem Smith had a touchdown. Silas Tate had a touchdown. Oh, my Lord. They had 6 receiving touchdowns and 4 rushing. Oh, my goodness. A complete and utter beatdown. Play for Bluefield. Goodness gracious. The game of the week, perhaps, if it's not JCSU, is this one. Union at Edward Waters. Here we are. And Lumumba Howard is going to pick up the 51-yard fumble and run it back for a touchdown. It's going to even the score at 31 with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But the following possession, the following kickoff, Kyron Jackson is going to return this kickoff for a 90-yard touchdown and put Edward Waters back up by a touchdown by a score of 38-31. You can't make this up. The following kickoff, here it is, Union feeling good, and boom. They're not going to catch him. He's gone. Touchdown. That young man's pretty fast, I got to say. They're going crazy. All right, but hey, R.J. Morales throws a 23-yard touchdown pass to Jeremiah Francis to even up the score with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. Will we be heading to overtime? There was no defense played in this game. That's a side note. No overtime because Edward Waters gets in field goal position, and they hit a 35-yard walk-off field goal to win the game 41-38. All right, let's look at these stats. Union had 26 first downs. Edward Waters had 22. Union had 224 yards rushing. Edward Waters had 131. But here's what jumps out to me. Edward Waters had 300 yards passing. They also fumbled 3 times and lost 2 of them. They also had 23 penalties. You know how bad Union's defense must have been for them to score 38 points, force 2 fumbles. Edward Waters has 23 penalties, and they still lose the game. Tough. Time of possession was pretty even. Edward Waters was 5 of 12 on 3rd and 4th down. Union was 8 of 13. RJ Morales, who is the weak link of Virginia Union, but we'll talk about that some other time. 9 of 21, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns in the pick. Curtis Allen had 24 carries, 469 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jeremiah Francis is 4 catches, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. Noah Bolden of Edward Waters, 19 of 35, 283 yards, and a touchdown. 283 yards on 19. Woo! Lighten them up. John Todd Thomas was 18 carries for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. He averaged 7 yards a carry versus Union. So that Union's defense looked pretty shaky in this game. Ijon Baptiste had 5 catches, 112 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Malachi Lovett had 3 catches for 91 yards. Once again, Union's defense was struggling this weekend, or last weekend. All right, not much to see here. Central hosting Fayetteville State. Here we have Harris Walker, 7-yard touchdown pass to Luke Bracey. Puts Central up 10-3. They would go on to win 49-19. Fayetteville State is currently winless on the season at 0-3. It's not looking too good for them. Central had 24 first downs to Fayetteville's 10. Fayetteville State did outrush them by 50 yards. However, Central had 400 yards passing, and Fayetteville State had less than 100 passing yards. They had 84 total passing yards. Somehow they got 19 points. I don't know how, but okay. Central had 500 yards of total offense. Fayetteville State also threw in 11 penalties. Time of possession was pretty even. And Fayetteville State was 6 of 14 on third down. These passing numbers, Lord. 7 of 10. So, what's this young man's name? Let me unfold this paper. Cardbo Wilson. 7 of 10 for 49 yards and an interception. Sacked 3 times. Joe Owens Jr., 3 of 7 for 35 yards and a touchdown. Okay. They'll take it. Bryce Council, 11 carries, 94 yards and a touchdown. Braylon Vincent, 11 carries for 88 yards. Walker Harris, 23 of 36 for 387 yards and 3 touchdowns. Did throw 1 pick, though. And last but not least, hold on, man. I'm going to turn the music off. This don't even deserve no music. I'm turning it off. This don't deserve no music. This was a complete and utter black eye for the CIAA. For those of you who don't know, and I didn't know until this weekend, Ferrum is a brand new Division II football program. This is their very first season playing Division II football in the Conference of the Carolinas. And they got their first Division II win against the CIAA and Shaw University. I said it before, I say it again. I owe Lincoln an apology. I said Lincoln might go winless. I was completely wrong, and we'll get to that. Who is going to go winless this year? And I take no joy in saying this, but it is what it is. Shaw University is not going to win a single football game this year. And listen, if you're a CIAA fan, you better hope I'm right. You don't want your school to be the one to give Shaw a win this year, but I don't see it. Shaw's not going to win the game this year. They should have won this one, though, and they did not. So, here we are. Halfway through the first quarter, Justin Wheeler to Colby Bates for the 4-yard touchdown pass. Put Shaw up 6-0. Of course, they got the extra point block because why not? Here we are. Fumble. Because why not? Puts Ferrum in position to get back in the game in the third quarter, and guess what they do? Aiden Vaughn with a 2-yard touchdown run. They make their extra point, of course, and now they are up 7-6. Just to put a little icing on the cake, you have Eli Fultz with a 6-yard touchdown pass to Omar Zagray to put them up 14-6, and that was the final score. Ferrum got their first ever Division II win against the CIAA. My Lord. Both teams could only muster up 11 first downs apiece in this game. Shaw did crack 100 yards rushing, but they did not crack 100 yards passing. They had 200 total yards exactly on the game. Ferrum only had 181 total yards, but once again, Shaw fumbled the ball inside their own 10, so they didn't need that many yards to win this game, sadly. Shaw also said, you know what? Let's throw in 20 penalties. Why not? So they did that. They went 2 of 13 on 3rd and 4th down, and my, look at these numbers. Justin Wheeler, 12 of 18 for 90 yards and a touchdown. That's not terrible, but I mean, what about? Yes, it is 90 yards. What am I talking about? They had 6 points. Eli Fultz, he was even worse. 8 of 15 for 70 yards, 7-0, and a touchdown. Sacked twice. But once again, Fram won the game. My. What a tough week for the CIAA, man. Tough, man. Oh, boy. Hey, it is what it is, right? All right. Next. Let's make some predictions for this weekend, and then let's get on up out of here. Let me go ahead and share this screen. Where is it at? Here we go. On the CIAA website, let's look at these games. We got Shaw at Lincoln, 1 o'clock. Listen, Lincoln is going to win this game by 3 touchdowns. At least. Lincoln is going to win this game by at least 3 touchdowns. Then we have Fayetteville State at Elizabeth City State. I'm going to come back to that one. I'm still not sure. I'm not sure. What I do know is one of those teams is going to break their losing streak because they're both 0-3, but somebody going to win this. Somebody got the win. So Virginia State at Winston-Salem State, 1 o'clock. Virginia State is coming off of a bye. They look really good against Norfolk State. I'm going to take Virginia State in this game. Bowie State at Livingstone, 4 o'clock. Come on, man. Come on. I think we know. I think we know. Bowie State Bulldogs. Come on. This one also. This is a tricky one. Johnson C. Smith at Union. JCSU won a close call on the road against Elizabeth City State. But I did see some things that was like, See, here's the thing, though. I can't pick Alvin Parker to lose 2 games in a row. This game is at Union, 6 o'clock at night. It's a night game. Union's coming off of a loss. This is their home opener. I'm going to take Union. Now back to Fayetteville State and Elizabeth City State. Oh, man. Fayetteville State does not have a quarterback. That's the problem. They can't pass the football. But they have a top 3 coach in the CIAA. That's the thing. That's why it's so tricky. They have a top 3 coach in the conference. And he's not going to lose every game. They're already 0-3. I'm not gonna lie. Just I don't know. Fayetteville State, Elizabeth City State. I got to pick somebody. Oh man. I want to say ECSU because I've seen some good things from them. They're better. But am I going to pick Fayetteville State to drop the 0-4? I know what I've seen. I know they don't have a quarterback, but am I going to pick them to go 0-4 with that coach? I'm taking Fayetteville State. I'm taking Fayetteville State. I'm taking Fayetteville State. I don't see them going 0-4. I'm gonna go ahead and take Fayetteville State. So just a quick recap. I'm taking Lincoln big over Shaw. I'm taking Fayetteville State barely versus ECSU. I'm taking Virginia State respectfully over Winston-Salem State. I'm taking Bowie State comfortably over Livingstone. And I'm taking Union by 10 over JCSU. Those are the picks for the week. All right. We got the whole show done in 30 total minutes. So let's get on up out of here. Let's get some rest and let's get ready for a big weekend of CIAA football.